WZRD Chicago 88.3 FM. What's going on, Chicago Farmer? How you doing?
Megan, how are you? Good to be with you.
Good to be here and good to have you. See your smiling face. You look nice and clean cut. Did you get a nice haircut or?
I was in Indianapolis last week and I was walking by this barber shop and I guess my hair was like mushrooming out and the guy was like, "Hey, you want a trim?" And I was like, "I actually need one." And so it just happened on the fly walking down the streets of Indianapolis. I got all my hair cut off.
Oh my goodness, that's why you look so clean cut. I love that like he was promoting, hey, who needs a haircut? He knew
Yeah,
you
it
might.
was it was it was across the street from the venue and they give musician discounts. So, but
That was cool.
I'm still the old me though. I got my martyr shirt on and the denim
Oh
and
yeah.
whatnot. But
Oh yeah. I can just see your pretty, is it blue eyes you have? You have really nice blue eyes or
yeah,
gray?
that's just a shirt. But yeah,
Green? Yeah,
yeah.
it changes, right? But no, you can really see your features more. I'm on the air right now with Chicago Farmer, WZRD Chicago. We just heard three or four of your tunes from Homeaid. Really, really good album. How you feeling about it?
Thank you so much. I feel great about it. It's been a couple years in the making, so now we're finally doing the fun part where we're hitting the road and continuing to play the songs, and it's been a great response from old school and new school fans, and yeah, we've been putting a lot of miles on Barbara Streisand's van, and now we're excited to be back on the home turf to play a couple Illinois shows in Bloomington and two nights in Chicago with Martyrs. Now the celebration begins.
Yeah, all that hard work gets to pay off, and you get to actually play the tunes with your buddies and enjoy it, right?
Absolutely, yeah. We recorded it in Cannon Falls, Minnesota, at a place called Pachyderm, and it was a great experience. And now I've just been promoting it and doing Zooms and all that good stuff. And now it's finally like fun part. Let's hit the stage and play the songs and celebrate all the work and blood, sweat, and literal tears that we put into it.
Yes. Hey, yeah, there's a battle cry tune on there, which I thought was really good. Sometimes,
Oh, thank you.
yeah, you're not crying for any particular reason. You're just crying. Tell us about that tune, because that was a song that really resonated for me.
That was a tune like a lot of my tunes. I'm just in my hometown driving around one day. Not a huge story to this one. I just started crying. And I was like, why am I crying right now in the middle of the day at this stop sign in the middle of my hometown? I have no idea. And then I started driving around the town a little more, and I started driving around my old house and the old school and the old cemetery where my father's at now. And I was like, oh yeah, that's why. That's why. It makes perfect sense now why I was just bawling for no reason. So, and I think the older you get, the more you kind of do get a little sentimental. And my grandfather was like that. He'd just be telling a story in his old age and start tearing up. And you know, I think
Yeah,
I'm a little more sentimental in my age, and I think that comes through in the songs. They're a little more emotional than the previous ones. So that's where that one came from.
that's great. And it takes it takes a lot to be able to say I'm gonna talk about crying as a man, as a typical like we don't cry and we're supposed to be real hard. Was that kind of a thought that went into it as well? Kind of like I'm gonna talk about it?
Yeah, for sure. I one of my greatest enjoyments of making music and playing shows is making large men cry, and so then I'm not ashamed to admit that I often do do myself.
Yes, that's
And
true.
yeah,
You get
but
to
when
see the audience do it, and then now you do it too.
I get some big burly dudes in black t-shirts with big beards at my shows, and if I can make them cry, then I feel like I've won. I feel like I'm winning.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the older I get and the more I've done this, I think the more emotional the songs get and the material gets, and there's plenty to be emotional about at home and around our country and world right now, anyways. And sometimes just gotta let it out. I'm grateful to have music be an outlet for me to do so.
100%. Yeah. I think it's a really, really cathartic thing to be able to just let it out sometimes. And even if we don't know why it's happening, instead of like being really worried, like, is something wrong with me? It's more like I've heard, like, I did Tai Chi and a friend of mine started bawling at the end of it. And it was so releasing. And the teacher was like, don't worry about it because it's actually you're moving the energy in your body. You're also moving it out of your tear ducts. You're letting these feelings come out.
Absolutely. Wow, tear ducts. That's a great one. I'm gonna have to use that at some point. But
Feel free.
yeah, yeah. I think music, art, just listening to music. It's all exercise. It's all great therapy to help us all cope with everything that's around us. I think, and yeah, the exercise is one I need to work on a little more. But now that the weather's getting a little nicer, I might get on that.
Same here, same here. It kind of makes you want to. Once you see it's nice out, it's like, oh, I kind of want to get out there and move my body more.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, you probably didn't have time for it with all this work. It takes a lot to put an album together.
It really does. Yeah, luckily, like I was talking about my Indianapolis haircut, that was nice to have some downtime and walk around a town for a little while that when the weather's nice. Um, I know a lot of people who they're pretty good at staying healthy on the road, and I've definitely gotten better with my intake of, liquids and foods. I try to anyways, but yeah, getting that exercise in on the road can be pretty tough. But my guys in my band try to do it, and we at least get a good stretch in at the rest stops, when we can.
It's the best thing you can do. I agree.
It
You know,
all
I
helps. It all helps.
it does. I had your counterpart, one of your bandmates on air, Jake Willis, at one point, and he
Yeah.
he told this story about when he first moved out west, and he found this mattress on the side of the road, and I was just listening to mattress, and I'm like, okay, did he tell Cody this story, and that's why this happened, or tell us the background on that little ditty?
I was living in a house here in central Illinois, and my neighbors, they kept people, I think it was a rental house, but every 6 or 7 months, the people in that house would kind of get the boot and they would have to leave abruptly. And sometimes they would leave their stuff in their yard. And so I would just stare at their mattresses with my cup of coffee and my guitar in the morning. And I was like, what a silly song that would be to write about
Yeah.
mattresses. And then I don't know. I kind of put it on the back burner. And then one time Jake was coming to practice and he was late. And I said, what took you so long? And he was like, there were mattresses all over I-57. It was backed up for miles because of these mattresses all over the interstate. And then I was like, all right, that's it. I got to finish this song. I was like, maybe it's time to write this mattress song. And now like, it's like our most requested song at the shows and the biggest sing along we have. So
Oh
just
man.
crazy little things like that happen. And speaking of Jake, we found a pretty gnarly mattress in Bozeman, Montana at
Yeah.
a Motel 6 in our last big tour. And yeah, you can't unsee that mattress that we found. It was pretty
Oh.
gnarly. We always check our mattresses in the hotels. That was a little trick I learned from my wife, and I'm glad we did that night because it was a pretty bad one.
Oh, so not on the side of the road. You found this mattress in your hotel.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta keep an eye out for mattresses everywhere. That's my main knowledge that I'm trying to put out there.
I've been more careful about it too. I'm like, just to be safe, we gotta check, especially when you're on the road a lot. Yeah, no, when Jake told that story about, he didn't have a bed, he didn't have anywhere to stay, and he was young. He was like 16, 17 or something. And he
Yeah,
literally found a mattress on the side of the road and slept in it. And we all went, but you had to do what you had to do to become who you are. And I feel like
absolutely.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we've all come a long way. He and I and the rest of the guys, yeah, from pretty humble beginnings, all of us, to you know, now being able to play multiple nights at cool venues and have a record out and get to do our thing. And we've come a long way.
You really have. You really have. No one can see you because we're on Zoom, me and you, but I can see these awesome framed photos behind you or paintings, posters.
Yeah.
Tell us about those.
Yeah, I've got Green Sky Bluegrass here, who is my wife and I's favorites. Um, And then we've got Wilco. The band and I opened for Wilco at the Castle Theater's celebration a few years ago with Backyard Tire Fire and some other bands. And then that one's an actual Chicago Farmer one with my buds, the Henhouse Prowlers from the Castle Theater. So yeah, we run
Wonderful.
the whole gamut. We're pretty diverse in this house. We've got bluegrass and folk and rock and roll and soul all over the place. But yeah.
I love it. I love it. Is it the same artist on all three of those, or they just kind of look similar?
No, they are all three different. The one with the Prowlers and I is Haphazard Press, and I work with them quite a bit here in Bloomington, and they did the album cover, they've done our T-shirts, pretty much our whole merch is
Cool.
Haphazard Press right here in Bloomington. So they do great design work, and they're great people.
That's awesome. I love it. I love the cover that you have for the new album, Homemade. How did you come up with the name and why?
I there was kind of like a homemade, like the regular spelling, but I kind of spelled it AID, just kind of um, trying to give a little help and assistance on the home front. I felt was needed. Also, my grandfather passed away a couple of years ago. My grandma's almost 98, and we could not afford the assisted living for her. So she lives with my mom for a month, and then she goes and lives with my aunt for a month. So my mom and my aunt have kind of become homemaids, and for my grandma, and I feel like that's kind of the theme running through the album is taking care of each other in tragedies and hard times, and taking care of home. And then I think it all starts at home, and then you work your way out to try to improve things and make change. So that's kind of where the name came from.
I love that. I definitely liked that I had to like stop and type it the way you spelled it. And I'm like, I kind of like it this
Yeah,
way because it's got a lot of different connotations with it.
I just like keeping people on their toes, and I love playing with words. So
It's perfect. It's perfect. So homemade, if everybody's looking for the new album from Chicago Farmer, it's home and then AID instead of the regular spelling, MAD. And wow, 98 years old, years young, your grandmother. Wow.
yeah, I just saw her last or 2 weeks ago, and I tried to give her a CD, and she paid for it. I was like, she wouldn't.
No.
She was about to fight me. I was like, no, Grandma, you've inspired two of these songs on here. Just take the CD. And she's like, no. She demanded that she paid for the CD. I was like, it's $10, Grandma, whatever. But I'll get 2 gallons of gas. Thank you so much. So
Right. If I'm lucky, I'll top up it too. Oh, that's funny. I'm gonna put it under your pillow. The tooth fairy's coming back for you, Grandma. That's awesome. Grandmas are so special, and I think it's so special when a grandparent is at that age and they can see their kids at in their 60s, their grandchildren in their 40s. Like that's
yeah,
that's really special.
it is. Yeah, on my once my dad's side, we lost my grandparents, when I was pretty young. But on this side, there's something about that well water out there at the farm. I don't know what it is, but yeah, 101 and almost 98 now. So just lucky for every day and every new memory, and have the old ones, and still get together with her quite a bit and learn so much, and pretty much learn a new story every time we hang out. So learn something new every time. It's pretty cool.
That's wonderful.
Pretty
What's
fortunate.
very fortunate. Yeah, I think it's we get lucky with that sometimes, and I'm grateful that you have your grandma at that age and 101. Man, I hope to live that
Yeah,
long.
me too. Me too.
What two
But I guess
songs?
I better get exercising, huh?
I know, right?
Like
We
we were
gotta.
talking about.
But you're starting, like you said, to eat better and drink better on the road. That's a hard thing to do when you're out there.
Yeah.
What two songs on the album have been inspired by Grandma?
The $20 bill and the Great River Road are both inspired by the grandparents. The $20 bill is kind of an old one that I brought back, kind of in honor of my grandpa. And then the other one is called Great River Road, and that one's really about a couple's journey, and kind of about how, like I was mentioning, the stories of my grandparents, how they get passed down generation to generation, and it's kind of about a song, and how songs get passed down and old guitars get passed down. But really, it's the sentiments that and the stories and the heartfeltness and the kindness that gets passed down generation too, and how we kind of the cycle keeps on going, and now I've got a nephew too, and he's the next generation coming up, taking grandma and grandpa's old stories and that way of life. And life's definitely changed a lot, but we keep them with us wherever we go.
That's beautiful. Thanks for sharing that. I think it's just heartfelt to have grandparents inspire music like that, and I don't hear a lot of people talking about it. So thanks for sharing that. And I'm always going to keep that memory of your grandma shoving the $10 back at you like, no, no, take it. But she's proud of you. That's why she wants to pay for it. She wants to show you that you deserve it.
Yeah, she's not too internet savvy. I mean, she does it, but so her thing is, and my mom too, they clip out the newspaper articles, so it's pretty cool to see good news in the newspaper. So when I see her, she's usually got a little clip out of that she cut out of the actual newspaper, which is awesome that those are still even a thing. And actually, my hometown is 1,700 people. We just got a new newspaper, and
What?
yeah, it's like 4 pages instead of two. It's in color. It's a pretty big deal. So,
That's huge.
so
What is it called?
this one's called the Dispatch. We had the Delavan Times forever, and now it's called the Delavan Dispatch. And
Great.
yeah, so still kicking, still cranking out the small town stuff, and it's in color. I mean, I can't believe it.
That's huge. That's huge. I think that's wonderful. I love that. We just had a revamping of the Chicago Reader and it's in color as well. And it's a little bit longer. They said it's more of a tabloid size. And I'm like, hey, I'm just happy to have paper of any
Absolutely,
sort because I still love
absolutely.
finding the early warnings in there, what shows are coming and so there's a revamp of print, which is awesome. Very, very cool. Well, you're coming to Chicago, Chicago Farmer. You're going to be here 2 nights. Tell us
Yeah.
where and when.
We are celebrating this new album at Martyrs on April 3rd and April 4th. It's a weekend celebration. And the whole band, Fieldnotes, this has kind of become a tradition now the last couple of years. Uh, kind of around when the Cubs start playing baseball, we head back to Martyrs and celebrate spring and celebrate still being a band and still celebrating independent music and the Cubs. And I don't know, it's just kind of like a way to start off spring and get out in front of things. And now we got the new record and we'll be playing the songs off of it both nights with a bunch of other songs, old school and new school songs. And in the last um, recently, I've been thinking a lot about my pal Todd Snider, who I got to open up with. He's kind of a songwriting hero and just a folk troubadour hero. And so uh, we were fortunate to go to his memorial a little while ago, and I met his nephew named Levi Snyder. And he's a great songwriter, but he also does Todd songs, his uncle's Todd songs. So we're going to celebrate Todd Snider on night one with Levi Snyder and friends playing a set of Todd Snider songs, which I think would be cool because I've opened for Todd in Chicago several times, and he's played Martyrs. I know he loves Martyrs. Sometimes he would just sneak over there and do a pop-up set, to play Martyrs. That's how much he loved it.
That's
And
wonderful.
yeah, and then on the second night, I thought since we're honoring my favorite songwriter, that I would do my other favorite songwriter too, which is John Prine. So Aaron Kelly and friends will be singing John Prine songs to kick off the night on night two. So it's just a big old weekend of songs and celebrations and tipping the hat to some heroes while we, you know, release and celebrate our new record. Pretty exciting.
It sounds like a really, really fun curated party that's going to be happening Martyrs April 3rd and 4th. And I didn't even think about the whole Cubs thing and spring, and it's kind of become a tradition. This has been going on a while now.
Yeah, I think we started with one night, and this might be your two or three of doing back-to-back nights, and it's great, especially for our two guys who live in Chicago. They get excited about it. Jake lives like 4 blocks from Martyrs, so
Oh,
he doesn't
yeah.
even have to get behind the wheel. I don't think so. It's great.
He gets to walk over with his axe and just come. Well,
Yeah,
he's got a few things, but
yeah. I gets to sleep in his own bed, and then our drummer
oh,
Frank's just up in Evanston, so
oh,
those
perfect.
guys are pretty excited about that, and we're excited too. I don't live up in your beautiful city anymore. I'm just a little bit south, but man, I love visiting it. And Martyrs has become our home. It's such a just mom and pop fun vibe there. Just it feels like homemade when you walk in there. We actually get
Oh,
it makes us a homemade meal every time we're there, and family run venue. And it always sounds great. And it's good, great vibes. We love it.
it is so great. It's definitely got a homemade vibe. I like that. I'm glad you mentioned that because yeah, Kate over there and Ray, they take good care of everybody who comes in those doors, but she makes some amazing food
Yeah.
and It's really nice. Like usually you're like, yeah, I'll just have the buyout and go get myself some Thai food, but not
Right.
there.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's so good. And then Brennan, their son now, we've been working with him the last few years. He's kind of taken over a lot of the heavy lifting, and it's just like a whole family affair. It's great. Yeah,
It is.
love it. But yeah, they're definitely legends in our scene. You know, there's so many legends in our scene. Like you're a legend in our scene, and all
Thank
these people that make what we do happen. You know, it's great, and grateful for the support, and so fun to all come together.
It is. Thank you for saying that. That's so kind. It's
Absolutely.
it's fun to be a part of the scene, you know. I think I would have jumped out a long time ago if it wasn't, it's just it's fun and people like Ray and Kate and Brennan and the whole Quinn family and bands like yours who have been staples. I was talking to someone this morning about your morning sets at summer camp and how they would,
But yeah,
wake up and go to the campfire stage or whatever stage that was, a little one, and just have this like intimate moment in the mornings that are great memories for them. Um,
that was fun. Yeah, breakfast with Chicago Farmer. That was always fun.
that's
Some,
amazing.
some people weren't able to get out of their tents by 11 a.m., but some were, and that was a lot of fun. Come Sunday at summer camp, everybody's a little ragged, but most people crawled
Yeah,
out of their tents and come to watch me play, and it was a fun way to kick off the last day of the festival. So, yeah,
that's awesome.
lots of great memories all over the state of Illinois and festivals in Chicago and north of I-80, south of I-80, and yeah, I when my first day when I got there, I was pretty close to just turning around and going home. But I stuck it out for a long time, and I'm glad I did because for a small town guy, I love Chicago very much, and it's always exciting to pull back in.
It is. It is. You've probably told us this on the show before, but why Chicago Farmer? How did that name come to you?
I think it was originally supposed to be the name for a band, but when I moved to Chicago, I lived with like six other people. I had six roommates, and they were all musicians. And I don't know. It's just kind of the Illinois that I knew was the Chicago part and the farmer part, and a lot of people still think that's all there is.
Yeah.
Uh, but I don't know. I started just falling in love with Prine and Steve Goodman and everybody there at the Old Town School of Folk, and I was kind of like, I think I'm going to go solo. I love my roommates, but I'm already with them all day. I don't know if I need to be in a band with them all. So they kind of had their band, and I had my solo thing, and the name just kind of stuck. And I've questioned it many times over the years. And actually, Todd Snider was one of the people who really liked it and told me I should keep it. So it's still silly, and it still doesn't make any sense, and it still confuses a lot of people. But
Oh, I think it's
but
great.
uh, but Todd, it was good enough for Todd Snyder. He liked it, so I
Yeah.
decided to keep it, and I'm thankfully I did because I feel like I really am a Chicago farmer now. It's kind of my identity, who I've become, and who I am. So it works.
100%. I think it's great. I think it makes a lot of sense because you come from a small town, like you said, North I-80, South I-80. You've been over this whole state very much, and Chicago you still love, and it's part of your. I'd say it's like a home to you as well, even though you don't live here. But
Yeah,
you identify with both, right? A farmer and Chicago.
absolutely. And yeah, in a couple of weeks we're going all the way back down to Carbondale. So running the whole gamut from north to south, north to south here
Yes. Are you
for
playing
this
down
week.
there?
Yeah, we're playing the old Hangar 9. I remember that
Yeah.
Hangar 9 in Carbondale, Salukis. Yeah, it's been a long time, but they got new owners and they're really cranking back up the music, and so we're pretty excited. So, but I used to drive there from Chicago and
Ooh,
back, and like a lot. But so now I'm kind of in the middle of the state. I can just
you could
down.
just.
I'm in Bloomington. I can just hit everywhere in a couple hours. It's pretty nice.
That's nice. No, that's really nice. I mean, when I think of Chicago Farmer, I even think, as far as Indiana, you speak about Indiana in some of your songs, and
Oh,
you've
sure,
got,
yeah, yeah. We kind of I started out here in Central Illinois, and then just been expanding forever. And we were just in Ann Arbor and Indianapolis, like I said, and where else were we? Cincinnati, and I've been going to those places for so long now. I feel like I'm a local everywhere I go. So
yes.
there's a little different taste of home in everywhere we go. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, I think Todd Snyder's right. I think Chicago Farmer fits, and you should keep it. Don't question it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've got trademarked and registered now, so there's
You're
no
like,
going
it's
back.
not going anywhere. I love it. Well, you speak of you were trying to be a solo entity, and then you came back to the band. What is the difference between solo Chicago Farmer and a band version?
Oh man, you know, they're both have their challenges, but they both have their positives too. Last week we were in a van, and my wife Kimber came along, and the van started to wobble quite a bit, and we had to pull over to a Firestone and get a couple tires put on the back. And you're dealing with other people's schedules and other people's attitudes and characteristics. It's tough, it's tricky, but there's something about being in a community, taking on the world with a group of people instead of taking on the world by yourself. That's pretty special. So I did the folk singer thing for a long time, and I still do. I still do both, but and I feel like I'm able to express myself both ways. But there's definitely a community vibe when you're on a group and you're on a team. Um, Instead of the world against you, it's kind of like the world versus us. Mentality, and we tackle things together, and it's never easy, but uh, I wouldn't trade it. I'm glad I went that route. It was kind of a scary thing to do, going from solo, you know, keeping all the money, keeping all the food, keeping all the drinks,
Right. It was just you. You didn't have to worry about everybody else. But
all the
you're,
everything. But it was time to try something new, and I found the right people to do it with, and everybody's been pretty gung ho ever since. And so we're ready to see what's next. But for now, it's time to celebrate what we've done so far.
yeah, I think that's a huge part. I think we work on things and sometimes we just want to get them over with because they take a lot of time and you're, tired of working on the same thing. But we need time to like really embrace what we've done. And I think that's what these two shows at Martyrs are all about,
Yeah,
embracing that.
absolutely. Yeah, time to just be present and celebrate and not worry about the reviews or the tickets or how many records you've sold. Just go out there and celebrate with your team and the crowd, who's also our team. It's just one big family, really. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited.
The shows last year were just incredible. I really left feeling like my soul was enriched
Oh,
coming to those shows. Yeah, it was just I didn't expect any of it. Like just the way you guys performed, coming out into the crowd and doing some really cool numbers just with us and very intimate. I thought that was super, super nice. And I brought some people that really didn't know any sort of folk scene or bluegrass scene just as like a side thing after something else. And they were like, "You do this all the time?" I'm like, "Yeah, I see musicians of this caliber all the time, and I'm so grateful and lucky for it." So I think people are in for a treat when they come to your shows. Definitely.
absolutely, yeah. And I think when I was in Chicago, I was pretty spoiled too. There was, amazing music all the time, which really inspired me to get better and to try to get at the level that my friends were at. Like I remember seeing Cornmeal on Wednesdays and Devil in a Woodpile on Tuesdays, and I was just mind blown by how amazing these people were. And I was like, man, I want to stay here and watch this, but I want to go home and practice too because I want to be, doing this someday. And there's always a great scene in Chicago, and it's a good scene too. It's a scratch your back, I'll scratch mine, you scratch yours, or what, reverse that, whatever. You know what I'm talking about.
Like that, reverse it.
We're all scratching something. That's what I mean.
That
But
was good.
it's a good scene. It's a motivating scene. It's an inspiring scene, and yeah, keep scratching and clawing,
Yeah,
but
keep
with
clap.
with the
Yeah,
support of each other. Yeah.
exactly. And if you can't reach something, one of us will get it for you. I love that. You've mentioned
You
Jake.
saved me. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Jake Willis, you've mentioned. Tell us a little bit about how you know him and why he's in the band.
Yeah, Jake was, we met at Illinois State, and he was, I would go out to these parties and there would be these bands playing, and they would be mostly like jam bands, which is really cool. I was getting down. And then he would go sit in with them and sing like a Bob Marley song or something. And it would just like, man, it would make the hair on your arm stand up, and it just took the show to a whole nother level whenever he would join them. And so we became buds just being local musicians around here. And then we kind of moved to Chicago at the same time. And at festivals, it seemed like he was always he would come sit in with me, and I would try to sit in with him. And whenever he would sit in with me, it would always just, kind of kick the vibe up a notch, and it was always super fun. And so we've been playing music together for years. And I had teamed up with a band called Bones, Jugs, and Harmony out of Urbana, and we
Yes,
had, we had we had done some shows together where I put those guys together, and we had their amazing rhythm section. And then we didn't really have like a lead player or anything like that. We kind of needed one, and Jake's harmonies are amazing. So just, I don't even remember planning it or putting it together. It was just the four of us wound up together somehow.
that's
And
great.
the next thing I know, we were a band, and it clicked. And then we added Frank Kurtz from Evanston as our full time drummer a couple years ago. So our keyboard player and mandolin, who also plays mandolin and sings, can kind of focus on those instruments. And so now we're a five piece band. But yeah, it just kind of started with me seeing Jake, and then him sitting in with me at festivals and stuff. And it was just like, let's see where this goes. It happened pretty naturally, pretty organically, really.
That's what I like, and I love that. So it's Jake, it's Frank. Who else do we have in the band?
We got Cody Jensen, who plays keys, mandolin. He's also plays fiddle. He plays melodica. He's kind of like the Swiss Army knife in the band. He like does it all. And then we have Charlie Harris on bass.
Oh
And
yeah.
everybody has Chicago ties. Two of them live there, but we've all lived there at some point in our life, from Evanston to down to Chicago Heights. So
Wow.
yeah, five local boys coming back. So
That's cool. That's cool. Charlie was in another band for a while, right? Wasn't Charlie in a band?
they were in a band called Bones Jugs,
Oh,
and
that
he's
was it.
yeah, and him and Cody are currently in a band called Carrie Sue and the Woodburners. So Carrie Sue is amazing, one of my favorite voices ever. And they also have a band called Merry Travelers, which is a great band that's got a little more soul to it, and kind of like more of a soul rock band. But they're in Urbana, and they're in all kinds of different projects. And Jake's
Great.
got a solo career, and Frank's involved in a lot of like jazz shows and stuff like that. So we all come from a different background, really. And somehow when we come together, we put it all together, and it works. So
Yeah, it works. It works really nicely, and it works in a way that, like I said last year, I was just blown away at the different ways you guys were showcasing each other and giving each other room to breathe and show their talents. And yeah, I look forward to this year too, and I hope some people will call in because we've got a couple pairs of tickets for each night, right?
let's do it. Absolutely. I can't even believe we're doing this. This is incredible. Two tickets for each night for free. All you,
Dang,
all you gotta do is be an avid WZRD listener, and man, it pays off, right? Radio pays.
it does. I'm getting a call already from somebody named Farmer. I don't know how that's Dylan Farmer. You know this guy?
It sounds
Is he
cool.
family? Yeah.
Sounds
I
really
got.
cool.
I don't want to put him on the air. We'll see what he says. WZRD Chicago, 88.3 FM.
I was calling in about the tickets.
Yeah, what tickets were you looking for?
Chicago Farmer. I was listening to the interview.
Nice. No, I'm just messing with you. Your last name,
My name is Dylan Farmer from Chicago.
Dylan Farmer from Chicago. That is great. Dylan, we're going to put you on hold and I'll get your info from you. But we had to answer because I was like, is this Cody's family? He said no. So give me 1 second, Dylan. Thank you so much for calling. And yes, you get your pick of either Friday or Saturday night.
Oh, I like John Prine, so Saturday would be great.
Perfect. All right, we'll put you on hold. Hold on 1 sec.
All right.
Thanks, Dylan.
WZRD. Yeah, say that again. He said,
I
thanks,
said
Dylan.
thanks, Dylan.
Yeah. Hi.
Hey, I love it. Yes, this is great. I'll put you right on hold. Well, Cody, thank you so much for spending time with us. I mean, this was a really nice chat, and it's nice to get back and just, kind of be intimate and talk about the album and things.
Absolutely. That would have been hilarious if that was like my uncle or
I know.
something.
I was like, it's for sure his family. They've all changed their names now.
Well, when I first started out, the only people that bought my records or came to my shows was family. So now I've got like even strangers that buy my records and come to my shows. So I feel like in that regard, I've moved up quite a bit. So
That's huge. I mean, that's really huge. And like you said before, Graham's paying for the record. She must believe in you enough that she wants to give you that 10. And this person really says they don't know you. So I
Yeah.
love that. That's so cool. Anything else you want to share with us?
I've enjoyed us scratching each other's backs. Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure. Thanks for supporting local music. Love what y'all do. And say hi to Wavy Dave and the whole crew.
I will. I will. Heck yeah. Well,
All right.
thanks so much. We appreciate what you do. Safe travels out here, and we'll see you April 3rd and 4th at Martyrs.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks. WZRD Chicago 88.3 FM, The Wizard, Chicago's home for freeform since 1974. Thank you so much. And it's WZRD. We're going to play another tune.